Williamstown Braves football faithful. I know you're there. Where are you, Brave Nation? That's what I thought. In a moment, we're going to do our coaching show like we do every week here at the House of Brews with the head coach of Williamstown Braves football, Ron Gordon. Tonight, as you probably know by now, it's a very special episode of our show. We're going to be honoring our dear friend, Coffee Jones, who I had the pleasure of being in the broadcast booth with for 7 seasons over 3 different networks, mind you. And we're going to have members of his family, close friends, a lot of stories. So we're going to get through that as well tonight. And we have a very touching video tribute for you. So in a minute, we're going to go live. So we'll hear you then. Thanks.
Is a presentation of BFA Sports.
Good evening, everybody. We're live here at the House of Brews in Turnersville, New Jersey, and this is the Coaches Show, the Williamstown head coach, Ron Gordon. I'm Chris Lozzi, BFA Sports, proud to bring you another episode with our very fair Ron Gordon, Williamstown Braves, everybody. And this is our first show where we have the sound piped through the system. And each week we come here and we talk about another game where it's another learning experience. Coming off of another tough loss. Cherokee was tough, but you had said at the beginning of the season that this was going to be something of a challenge. Did you think it was going to be this much of a challenge?
I mean, not really, but, you know, the kids are doing what they're doing. The coaches are doing the best that they can. You know, the kids keep fighting each and every week, and that's all I can ask from them.
One thing that has been a constant, though, is they have bought into your system. From number 1 to number 99 on the roster, they have all bought into your system. And they really are playing hard for you. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. You know, each and every week, you know, you got to do the right things on the field. And, you know, the guys are playing extremely hard, and I can't ask much more from them. They're practicing hard. This week, it was a great week of practice. You know we got a tough opponent coming up, but these kids, they're warriors, man. They fight each and every day. So that's all I can ask.
And just so you know, they fight for you, you know. So
yeah. Exactly.
Some of the good things, though, that have come out is we talked about this a couple weeks ago, the emergence of quarterback Aiden Davidson, some other unsung heroes that really you should, at some point, be really proud of. Alex Holloman, guys on the front, Jack Cummins, Malinsky on the line. No, I mean, holes are starting to open up. It's difficult, though, against Cherokee when you didn't get the ball for much of the first quarter, but do you see some things like that we see up in the booth?
Yes, of course. Each week we see, you know, our guys just improving. Things are starting to, you know, come along, but we just have to put the final pieces together. And once we put the final pieces together, we'll start to, you know, we can win some football games.
And the rally cry here is last year this team went to the postseason with how many wins?
2.
Exactly. And there's how many left?
3 games.
So there is still a chance. Of course, of that awesome schedule that some say and very difficult schedule, you get a ton of PowerPoints. So get a couple wins and we'll see you in the postseason, right?
Yeah, that's it. You know, I told the guys, listen, we need 2 to get in, but let's win out. You know, I want the guys to be in that mentality of not just winning 2, win out, and let's get this thing on the roll, you know.
So obviously we're here tonight with the audio through the system because we're going to honor Coffee Jones throughout the rest of the show. what was your personal recollection of Coffee?
I mean, look, I told you, tonight it's not about me. It's about Coffee. I mean, that smile before every game, giving me that big handshake, big hug. Coach, how you guys going to do today? Coach, what's the game plan? He was the man. And, tonight's about him. I know it's my show, but it's Coffee. It's Coffee's tonight. So,
would it really shock you that everybody just took to him like he was everybody's big uncle?
Oh yeah, I felt like he was my big uncle out there. I mean, I'm telling you, every game, just that smile. He's out there bobbing his head, nodding to the music. He's getting into it like we are. He's a great guy. I love him to death.
Yeah. We're going to be doing a lot of that, so stick around. It's going to be a really nice tribute. When we come back, we're going to get that thing started. Just a reminder that on this end, tomorrow night against St. Augustine, we are going to have another tribute to Coffee and a little special surprise, and that's going to be at 6:45. So we'll be on the air tomorrow night around 6:30 or so, and of course we kick off at 7 o'clock on BFA Sports against St. Augustine. So when we come back, the tribute to our dear friend, Coffee Jones. It's live. It's next. Welcome back, everybody. We're here at the House of Brews and a very special edition of the Coaches Show, Williamstown football with head coach Ron Gordon. We had him in our last segment. I'm Chris Lozzi. It's a pleasure to be here. And we really took our time in getting this right in doing a tribute for that man right there, Jason Coffee Jones, who I have had the pleasure of sitting next to in a broadcast booth for 7 years. I rehearsed this probably 50 times, and I did it flawlessly, and now I'm not doing so well. But obviously, we were all very, very incredibly touched by all the outpouring of love and support when we lost Jason in June. And this season is basically our tribute to him. And tonight, we want to recognize so many people that he has been a part of, not only in the football world, but also in the family world as well. There are many things you're going to learn about our good friend Coffee. So we hope that you enjoy all of that. And we will get to that when we come back to the House of Brews. We're live here in Turnersville on BFA. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back here to the House of Brews and our very special tribute to our good friend Coffee Jones. When we put this together, we figured we would put together as many people as we could that influenced him, not only on the football side, but the broadcasting side, and then his family. We're going to start tonight with probably somebody who was closer to him than I was in the football world. He got him involved in all of this. He got him started. I'm talking about Ron Jaworski, and thanks for coming on, Jaws. I appreciate it.
Chris, thanks for having me. Great to be with you, and what you're doing is absolutely a true testament to an incredible person, Jason Jones. So thank you for what you're doing. Recognize the incredible talent, and just by the crowd that we have here tonight, family, friends, and guests, Jason would be proud. He'd be smiling right now.
You know, he left a mark on everybody that it just seems it was one constant. That smile never came off his face. How did it get started with him?
It was pretty simple. He played for the Philadelphia Soul of the Arena Football League, which I was part owner for many years. He was a very good football player. I mean, and that smile, which I always love, the smile that you saw doing television or doing a public appearance, changed when he was a football player. Because, you know, football is a tough game. And there's a certain mentality, and I had talking to Coach a little bit earlier. There's a certain mentality you have to play the game. You play to win the game. And it's not that smiley, nice kind of guy. You got to have a certain tenacity within your character and the ability to want to succeed and win. And as a player of the soul, Jason had that tenacity, that will to win, and that talent. He had a terrific career in the Arena Football League. And I noticed when he was playing with the Soul, he was also a very diligent worker. And my office is at NFL Films. And I would always have 2 or 3 of my Soul players helping me break down tape and study the game. Boring as hell. You know, I mean, we'd watch tape, click, 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 and try to find weaknesses and strengths. And we talk about them on all the shows I did with ESPN and the NFL Matchup Show. And Jason stood out. Not only the personality and the work ethic he had, but for an offensive lineman, he really understood the complexity of the game. Usually only quarterbacks understand it all. I'm kidding on that. But we're trained to understand all 11 players on offense and defense. But Jason had a great feel for that. And as I was, Jason, you want to come and work for me? I need as my assistant. You want to help me? I mean, he was like a kid in a candy store, you know. I mean, he was just that energetic about helping me, helping the matchup show, helping my work at ESPN. So as time went on, a couple years, I said, Jason, you know, my weekends I'm up at ESPN. You know, I need someone to go up there with me, help me prepare, drive me up so I can study, look at tape in the car on a 3-hour trip to Bristol, Connecticut. He's, oh, boss, you know, Jason. He had more energy, more enthusiasm than you could possibly imagine. So I can't wait, dude. I can't wait, dude. So, I mean, you're sitting in the car for 6 hours a week with someone you get to know him pretty well. And besides what the football side of it, the personality side of it, he was a great human being. And had a tremendous work ethic. And everyone he came in contact with, like the people out here tonight, he brought a smile to their face. He was that kind of man. Hardworking, compassionate. You know, you're going to talk to my wife, and she'll probably give you more details about, you know, when he'd come to the house for Christmas and come to the house for Thanksgiving. He was family to us. And the fact that he's being honored here by so many people and recognizing his great talent. His dad flew in from L.A. Uncle Pat comes in from the Midwest. You know, they wanted. And I'm so glad that they're here to put a smile on their face, and they realize how much of an impact he had on so many people.
So in 2016 is when I first met Coffee in this conference room for a network called SNJ Today, and he was going to be the color guy on the Game of the Week. Did he tell you that he was going for this, or did you set him up for this? Or
oh, no, I know you and I had some conversations, and you know, my golf course company was sponsoring some of the segments on the show, but he was working with BFA. And by the way, I want to applaud you and what you're doing, Chris, for high school sports.
Thank you.
These kids sometimes get forgotten. You know, they're playing at Williamstown High School or wherever high school they may be at Ocean City. They deserve to be on TV. They deserve the credit, and you bring that to them. So what you and your team have done is really to be applauded. And I continue doing it, and I wish you the very, very best. But I knew that Jason had the personality that he would flourish in the camera, and he had a big, great voice inflection. And you know, I'd watch some of the games that you guys produce. I'd watch some of the games he did at Penn, some of the games he did at Princeton. I began to coach him up. You know, I mean, I had great people I worked with. You know, Mike Tirico and Chris Berman. And Mike Tirico was my mentor for 25 years. You know, so the tips that I got from those guys, I would give to Jason. And hopefully, he can expand his career in broadcasting. You know, he was my assistant on the football side, but he also I thought he had great potential in the booth. You know, he had a good feel for the game. He had a good presence, but I would kind of give him some tips that people gave me to succeed.
We had instant chemistry, and that is not something that you can attest to in this business. That's hard to get.
And it's a very important part of the game.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really nice. And he always had this saying that when it flows, it flows. And I can't tell you how many opens we did, one take, no script, nothing. Yeah. And we had a ball doing it.
Well, and opens for the most part are scripted. You know, at least you know what you want to say. But all of a sudden, you know, when those lights go on, you got to go. You got to go. You know. And I'll tell you the story before we started here. When I was doing Monday Night Football, when that light went on, 20 million people saw this face. That could be scary at times. I know that. Yeah. But you're prepared. You prepare. And I will say this about Jason: he was prepared for any circumstance that may have happened. If you had a muddy day, rainy day, a snow day, a wind day, I know how he prepared. The game plan, I know how much he talked to the coaches, because he wanted to present himself in a very professional manner and in a prepared manner. Because you can get any football guy to sit in the booth and start talking football, but he studied both teams. He cared about both teams. I mean, he wore that Williamstown championship ring like it was a Super Bowl ring. I mean, that's how proud he was of covering the team through those championship years. He was just so proud to be part of that organization and what the coaching staff and the players were accomplishing. So he was very proud of what he did, you know, with the BFA group, who, of course, was Williamstown.
Yeah. We're going to tell a good story about the ring, actually. But the other thing, when he showed up at games, he was always on the field first. Where's Coffee? Where's Coffee? Anybody? He's down there. He's hobnobbing it, and he's talking to coaches he never met in his life, and they're telling him everything. He just had that ability.
It was fun for me and interesting for me to learn about all these great high school players in South Jersey, because you know I have a web that's around the whole country. And I talk to NFL coaches on a pretty much almost a daily basis. I talk to personnel guys. And Jason would feed me all these great players that are coming out of South Jersey. And I'd put the seed in Terry Bradway's ear about he was coaching out for the scouting for the Carolina Panthers. he's down Ocean. I said, you better watch this kid here. I didn't know if the kid could play or not.
Yeah.
But Jason told me they could play. And I trusted him because he knew what I was looking for as far as talent. So when I would tell a personnel director at Howie, you got to watch this kid. In 5 years, you're going to be drafting this kid. He's going to be a #1 pick in the draft. They would listen to me. But quite honestly, Jason told me that because he actually saw the guys play. He saw how they work. And so people trusted my word because I trusted Jason's word.
He wanted everybody to go to Georgia. And he would always talk to the kids, especially the top 5. He would always start every telecast by saying, top 4, top 5 in the country, and he's going to go play at Georgia.
Yeah, I've went to Georgia. Yeah.
Where did that come from?
He was Georgia strong before the Eagles were Georgia strong.
Yeah. Where did that come from? I mean, I'd say from Van Nuys, California, played at Idaho State. Where did Georgia come from?
Well, it's funny. One of the earlier times he picked me up at my house to drive to Bristol on a Saturday morning, he gets out of the car, waiting outside, and he's got that big old Georgia jacket on.
Yeah.
The G is as big as his body. It's huge. What the hell is that? What do you do with that Georgia jacket? Went to Idaho State. You're from L.A. He just got attached to Georgia. And obviously the same fetish he had with Georgia, Howie Roseman has, and it's worked out pretty well for both.
He loved them.
Oh, my God, he did. Oh, yeah. And you would think, like for me, when the Eagles lose, I'm hurt. When Georgia lost, he was hurt.
Yeah, he was. He was. Couldn't talk to him. His loss. We all deal with it in our own way. What does it mean to you that he was such a part of the family that now what you always relied on, he's not doing it anymore?
When we had the celebration of life for Jason after he passed, we had the celebration at the Ramblewood Country Club, and we probably had over 200 people show up. And I would probably say a quarter of those people were from around the country. They weren't the locals. They were guys that he played with, that he went to college with, some family members. But he made such a positive impression on so many people. Everybody liked Jason. And, I mean everybody. No one had a bad word for Jason. Some of his best friends in the Arena Football League, some of the best friends he had when he played over in Italy, they showed up. And I didn't even know they were coming. I don't know how they knew about it. Yeah. But somehow, maybe with social media and all the things that make people aware of that now, but I was just blown away by the attendance and also by the speeches. When people were giving their celebration-like speeches, I mean, I couldn't even talk. I mean, and I'm not afraid to say that. I was just too choked up. I started talking, and my wife Liz had to pick it up because I know how I felt about it. And I expressed what I could in words, but my emotions took it over. And that's how a lot of people felt about Jason. And the love for him, the compassion they had for him, and knowing that we lost just a great human being, a great advocate for the game of football, and someone who loved football in South Jersey. I mean, he became a fixture with BFA in the high school sports, called games for Penn, called games for Princeton. I mean, he was becoming iconic as an analyst in the area.
That's the football side of it. When we come back, we're going to know Jason from the family side, and who better to tell us that than Mrs. Jaworski, the boss. We'll be back after this.
You're right, Chris.
Newest thing from Pizza Hut isn't pizza at all. It's cheesy, so crispy, loaded with toppings, and just $6.99. Enough for two, price for one. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99. I be like,
Welcome back, everybody, to our very special edition of the Coaches Show here live from the House of Brews in Turnersville on BFA Sports. I'm Chris Lozzi, and you know that's Ron Jaworski, and that is Liz Jaworski joining us. When the topic is Coffee Jones, and I said to you when you came up, don't be nervous, what did you say?
I'm not nervous because I love him.
We talked about the family, or the football aspect of Jason. Everything he did, all the preparation, his football knowledge, but he was an adopted son.
He was an adopted son, and it's not often that we can blend a football team and family together. We were very close to so many soul players, but Jason was just a little bit more than all of them. And he, as he started working with Ron and helping Ron, he would be at our house more and more often. He became an adopted son, and as I told Eugene, thank you so much for allowing us to adopt him here in New Jersey. He was part of our family.
You told a story during your opportunity to speak at the memorial, which, by the way, I went after you, so it was all over then after that. And you mentioned a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes. Well, let's even start before that. Jason was not only part of the family, he was at every single holiday. He was part of when we would get together and share meals together and break bread together. He would do Easters with us. He would do Christmas with us. He would do Thanksgiving with us, and he was part of the family for a number of years. And this past Thanksgiving, so last year, one tradition that we have on Thanksgiving is that we pick our word of the year. And everybody picks a word of the year, so that's the word you have to live. It's a word that's going to change you. It's a word that's going to make you better. And after I had to think about Jason and put him in my heart, I went back and looked at his word. And Jason's word that he chose last year was legacy. And it just brings a tear to every one of our eyes because he left such a legacy in this world. I'm looking at Eugene here. He left a legacy for all of us, and he couldn't have chosen a better word.
When we had the celebration of life, we called it a celebration because, you know, it was such a joy for me to be around him for all those years.
Yeah.
I considered him family also. As a matter of fact, the first day he met my mother and father, and my mother put her hand out, he grabbed her, picked her up about 3 feet off the air and hugged her. And then my
Reggie, that's an awesome story.
and then my father, he just hugged him and said, "Hey, Paisan, how are you?" So, you know, and that's when you knew we had a keeper.
Right.
So I go back with him from 2016. And we went through so many different things, contracts, different TV networks. But the one thing that was constant was, he said, "Go where the money is, CL." and we did that. But it was easier to do that because he was like a brother. He would actually reach out to me, family things, and I can see what mark he left on everybody.
Yeah.
But when I saw you deliver that speech, that touched me like no other.
Yeah, because he touched our heart. I mean, we have 3 children, and all 3 of my children, and he was our 4th, they just loved him, and our grandchildren loved him. He touched everybody, and he had such a huge heart. He couldn't do enough for everybody. So he made those relationships just work for everybody. He made everybody love him as much as he loved them.
And he's still going to be there this Thanksgiving, I'm sure.
Is,
No
he
doubt.
is,
Damn right,
he is.
he'll be there.
Yeah.
He'll be there. It'll be special. Yes,
Thanks, Liz.
Yes. What a
Thanks
legacy.
for sharing.
Thank you. Thank
Liz Jaworski, everybody.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to hear from those who couldn't make it, but they reached out anyway. Back with more live here on BFA. Welcome back, everybody, to our tribute to Jason Coffee Jones. 7 years in the football broadcast booth with him, and more than just a broadcast partner, he was my brother. And it's fitting that we pay tribute to him, not only with those people that can come up here and talk about him, but as Jaws mentioned before, his reach was so wide that there are those who, although they couldn't be here in person, wanted to express their love and show their support. So I'm actually going to read some of those tributes right now. And our first comes from Bo Bell, who played with him in the Arena League and had a cup of coffee, no pun intended, with us on the SNJ Today broadcast. He did a couple of games with us. And he writes, Coffee, thank you for bringing smiles and laughter to those who are around you, encouragement and support to those who needed it. You were a truly first-class individual that made this world a better place, and you will live forever with the ones you touched. That was Bo Bell, everybody. At the memorial service, I had the pleasure of meeting Adam Kaplan from Pro Football Network. He is now on Sirius Radio. And he really struck me by seeking me out after it was my turn to speak, introduced himself, and said something that was just so on point. He said, you know, I cried twice in my life, and one of them was when he found out that we lost Coffee. And that was really touching. So I asked him if he would be able to join us tonight. And although he couldn't, he had no problem writing something for us. So from Adam Kaplan, there are special people that come into our lives over a series of months, years. But there's only one Jason. Whether it was his smile, laugh, or, I got you, Cap, I got you. No one could make me feel happier from being around a person than him. As I'm writing this, I can still see his big smile and laugh, and I will miss it for the rest of my life. Adam Kaplan from Pro Football Weekly. And then we have this one. This is from Joe Torti, who was his broadcast partner when he did some of the Ivy League games. I can't read all of it because we would need a sponsor for this, but in short, he starts by saying this. Thanks for doing this. I'm upset that I can't make it, but I appreciate your understanding. For the better part of the last decade, I spent my fall Saturday afternoons with Coffee Jones and his army of various cell phones, his bottomless gym bag, his full array of snacks in the booth. I got a little crowded sometimes in our press box desk. For those of us who knew Coffee, and this is pretty good actually, it's all part of what made him who he was. Many times that unreasonable number of cell phones was being used to capture joyous moments, make people around him laugh, and of course to check on the score of the Georgia game. Coffee, relax, it's Georgia, he would say. They're probably up by 30 points. Can you pay attention to the game that we're calling? That's what Coffee was about, Georgia football on game day, and 3 cell phones. He said they're probably up by 30 points. You could pay attention to this game. The crazy part is that every time Joe would be able to actually say that to him during a commercial break or something, he would deliver some perfect. That was Coffee. Always the professional. Given how everyone, and I'm paraphrasing, given how everyone has discussed Coffee's huge heart and easygoing nature, it's no wonder that he was such a pro to work with, regardless of who his partner was, what the stakes of the game were, and what was going on or wrong on the technical side. Sorry, Tiana, I know you're here tonight. Coffee was always ready to deliver. It's a big blow to lose him as a broadcast partner, but it's devastating to miss him as a friend. I will remember him always. Joe Torti, ladies and gentlemen, from the Ivy League Penn Television Network. His final football broadcast with me was last year. It was a playoff contest at Cherokee. We knew that it might get out of hand score-wise, and Coffee was all over that. He went into his phone. By the way, Dad, you still have his phone, right? You bring it with you? Oh, it's beautiful. I'm stealing some numbers on that one, no doubt. So he sent some text messages, and that's when he introduced me to a man named Randy Brown. Randy is the current special teams coach of the Baltimore Ravens, longtime mayor of Marlton, New Jersey, and a fixture at most Cherokee football games. He writes this: Coffee Jones was one of the classiest men I've ever met in our football world. He always had a smile, asked you if you ever needed help, offered his help at times. He loved being around football, added knowledge to games that he called, talked the game as well as anybody. I'll miss seeing him at our Jaws Youth Fund events. It just won't be the same without Coffee. Randy Brown from the Baltimore Ravens. Excuse me. And we have one other tribute. This gentleman, his name is Pat Kineen, and he is well known in the broadcasting circles as one of the premier audio engineers in the business. And car trouble prevented him from coming tonight, but he wanted to do more than just write something for me to read, so he sent this.
You know, it's funny. The very first time I met Coffee, I was walking into the Wells Fargo Center into the booth where we always do the game, and I've been doing the Soul for a number of years. And I'm expecting to walk in and see Barrett Brooks. He usually gets there early. He's studying. And there's this guy in there, this big guy, kind of looking at me going, doesn't know who I am. I don't know who he is. And I'm like, are you Barrett's little brother or something? He goes, no, I'm Coffee, man. I'm Coffee. I said, well, okay. What are you doing here? He goes, I'm doing radio. I'm doing radio here. So I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So I guess he was Barrett Brooks' replacement. But the thing is about Coffee is he was always asking me about how I get better. How do I get better? He would also say, okay, I got to get better. Can I do anything different? And he would then say, sorry, I don't have time to listen. I got to get down to Jaws. So off he would go out the door after the game. So it was kind of funny, just the way that Coffee was. But I got to say one thing about him. He was always bringing a guest in the booth. He always had friends. He was always bringing people along. Hey, this is how it's done, man. Maybe you can do this someday. He was always educating. And I like that about him. There's nothing bad to say about Coffee Jones. I miss him dearly. I think he was a great guy, and he was a good asset, obviously, to not just Ron Jaworski, but the Soul and everybody whose lives he touched. And they'll be missed.
That's Pat Kineen, who is a radio engineer, does mostly professional athletics and collegiate athletics as well, and that was his experience with Coffee. So you got to know the football person, and you got to know the extended family person. When we come back, it's time to meet the family, as our tribute to Coffee Jones continues live here on BFA from the House of Brews.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Liberty Fence Company. For 3 generations, the Liberty Fence Company has installed thousands of jobs all across the Delaware Valley. From wood, PVC, or chain link fence to stamped concrete, wrought iron railings, and landscape packages, Liberty Fence has won the hearts of their fans for over 30 years. When you want to take your backyard or landscaping to the next level, rush to your laptop and blitz your way to www.libertyfence.com.
welcome you back to the House of Brews, the special edition of the Williamstown Coaches Show here live every Thursday with Coach Ron Gordon. And, of course, this is our very special edition in honoring our very good friend Coffee Jones, who needed no introduction anyway. And we talked about football family and we talked about all the other things in his professional life. We saved the best for last, and that's his family. Joining me now is, as we said, Uncle Pat, his Uncle Patrick Marion. Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
I knew who you were before you knew who I was, because he would always call you pretty much after every game.
Yeah, that was that was my nephew. I love the big guy to death. You know, I'm surprised that, you know, looking at the screen that, you know, you're able to get me all in there, because usually you have to have a widescreen lens to get us all in there. So
there you are.
Oh, okay. You can take the camera back just a little bit there, buddy. Okay, that's a little too fluffy. Okay.
We knew he was going to do this, by the way, so, you know, that's why I couldn't wait to get you up here. The time in the spring, you are a giant. You know that. What you have done for the family was amazing, was extraordinary. In that role, did it give you some sort of, you know, appreciation? And
well, to be honest with you, it was the same thing that Coffee does. It's how he is with the entire family. That's how he is with me, and, you know, I followed in his footsteps and he followed in mine. You know, when it comes to family and friends, we don't have any friends. Everybody's family. Just like you're my brother to me, so everyone's close, and I'm going to treat everybody the exact same way, just the same way that he did.
In a way, the tragedy brought us all together and made us a family.
It brought us closer.
And I think that was one of the best gifts that Coffee could give us.
Absolutely.
But when you came in for the memorial and you said, we're going to celebrate, we're going to tell all the good things, I want to start with why he wore those trademark sneakers everywhere with three-piece suits, fedoras that belonged in gangster movies. Those sneakers really meant something. Tell us what they were.
Well, with every outfit, with every suit, at every event that he and I worked, we always wore Jordan tennis shoes with the suit. You know, and it's a funny story behind that, because...
Your mic up a little bit.
Oh, how's that? Okay.
They can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. We just happened to be in Miami, and we were walking back to the hotel after the cigar party, and he got this wild idea, let's go ahead and get on those little scooters that they go ahead and motor around the city. So he and I are in a full suit, tie, Jordan shoes, big as ever, riding on these little scooters around the city. We went to Burger King in suits on a scooter with Jordans on. So in honor and a tribute to my nephew, tomorrow at the football game, I plan on wearing a suit coat that he wore, and also wear a pair of Jordans as well.
Maybe the Georgia jacket if it's going to be raining, right? You heard Ron talk about the Georgia jacket?
Well, you know, that's big shoes to fill. I don't know if I can actually fill that one, but...
What do you think of this tonight?
This is a fabulous tribute, and I am so appreciative. I'm so thankful for the warmth, the hospitality, the love that we received here, that you've always showed to him, and I know that he would have reciprocated the exact same way.
He talked a lot about our interactions. He actually said calling high school was better than doing college.
Yeah, because you had a lot more fun with it in high school, because, you know, it's kind of predictable with college somewhat, but high school, yeah, you get to see a diamond in the rough. You get to see these new guys emerge and just make themselves great and get ready for the next level. It's awesome.
Did you watch all our games?
I watched more than half of them, I would say, absolutely. Yeah, because he made sure he sent me a text message before every game. Here's the link. Make sure that you log on so you can see it. And then I would text him, let him know I'm watching the game, so that way he would know. I thought he was going to send me a shout-out during one of the broadcasts. Yeah, that didn't work out. So.
No, we shot that down. He asked me. I said no.
I'm out of here. Okay.
there were so many stories in the booth that people didn't know. For example, when he turned vegan. And I say turned because I took him to a pizza place and I put pepperoni in front of him and he ate it. While he was vegan, he said, well, I'll just do one slice. You're reacting, why? Because the vegan didn't work?
I'm still trying to understand. This guy stood 6'4", 6'5", a good 280, almost 300 pounds, and he's vegan. And, you know, I didn't understand it. But, hey, if he liked it, I loved it, so.
There is a video tribute at the end, and we kind of talk about that a little bit. I think you'll like it. As a member of the family, and it's tough, but what would Coffee want you to do right now?
Well, in all honesty, he definitely wants me to make sure that, and one of the words that Liz had brought up earlier was carry on legacy. And that would be, you know, that he was always kind to everybody, so he wanted me to make sure that I continue to do that. He wanted me to make sure that I looked out for Ron and Liz whenever I get around them. So I took that to heart. I'm going to make sure that no matter what, I'm going to make sure that they're good, and they always take care of me whenever I'm around them as well. So I love them, and, you know, that's
Love
my
you
family.
too.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate you,
All the
man.
way from Milwaukee. Patrick Marion, Coffee's uncle, everybody. Appreciate having you on.
Thank you for having me.
We saved the very best for last. When we come back, you'll meet Coffee's father right here live on BFA at the House of Brews.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Toyota of Turnersville. ToyotaofTurnersville.com is your best play when you want to score a new or used vehicle for your home team. Toyota of Turnersville service techs are known to figure out the toughest of those pesky lights on your dashboard. Toyota of Turnersville is just a short drive right on Route 42 in the heart of Turnersville Auto Mall and a proud sponsor of Williamstown Braves football. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back, everybody, here at the House of Brews. This is the Williamstown Football Coaches Show. Every week we're here with Coach Ron Gordon, and as you know by now, this is a very special edition, a tribute to our good friend Coffee Jones. You have met some of the people that meant the most to him from the professional standpoint, from an extended family standpoint, and from the family standpoint, but there's no one closer than Coffee's father. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Eugene Jones.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I appreciate for being here, and I appreciate everything that you guys did for my son. Jaws and Liz, excuse me. I appreciate you guys, man. You've been like a father to my son, a mother to my son. You adopted him, and I appreciate everything you did. Excuse me. Him and my wife. Sorry she couldn't be here, but she was under the weather, and I love her. And She missing you dearly. Chris, I just appreciate everything you did for my son. For
Yep. It's all right.
I miss my son. Who? It's hard. It's hard.
I know. I just bumped into him, by the way.
But all I can say is I miss him. I love him, and his life is gonna go on. You know, I enjoy Chris from just being with him and in the booth with him and talking to him. You know, keeping my son on the right road, and he did that. And he always would call me and tell me, Dad, you got to look at the game. You got to look at the game. You got to watch the game. And I will watch it. And, you know, I see him on TV. And a lot of times he'd be at the high school games and he'd be talking to the kids. And they love him. And I just couldn't be no more appreciated for my son. I raised a good man.
Yes,
a good man. And there's nothing else I can do. I just miss him.
You, when I called you and told you we were going to do this, you didn't hesitate to come here, did you?
No, I didn't. Nope.
What were you thinking?
I said I gotta be there. He would be there for me if I was there. If I wasn't here, so I'm doing this for him and his kids. You know, they would love him. He was just wanted to be a family man, a father, a figure, and it's just, you know, he felt he just couldn't do that. And I miss my son. I miss him. I miss him. And like I say, to the family of the Jaworski family, man, y'all been a blessing to him for taking him in. I remember when he called me, he said, Dad. He said, I said, what's wrong? He said, you ain't gonna believe this. He said, but Ron offered me a job. I said, no, he didn't. I said, what did I tell you? I said, if you listen to me and things will work out. I said, if you stay with the right people, things will work out. John hired you, right? He said, yeah, now you got to do what you're supposed to do. Show him with the experience that you have with him and make him a better man and you a better person. And he did that, and he said, Dad, I'm doing it. He said, plus he called me, he said, man, he gave me a big prize. He said, you would always talk about money. He said, but money wasn't all of that. He said, it was just him taking me in and giving me the love, him and his wife and stuff like that. I said, boy, you're in the right place. I said, you're in the right place, man. I said, you just stay there. And don't look back. You know, so he had love for everybody, and he was just a big teddy bear. That's all there's to it, you know.
He was a teddy bear.
Were, you know,
he was a teddy bear who loved his bling. Yeah. And I remember I was telling you this story earlier. The great people of Williamstown High School, when they won a state championship, by the way, in 2019, and I called him. You and I already had this story. This is for the benefit of everybody else here. And I called him, and I said, guess where I am? He said, where you at, CL? I said, I'm getting fitted for a ring for Williamstown Championship. You got to get me one. You got to get me one. And, of course, you know, we got the wheels in motion, and Williamstown has done everything first class, by the way. And you want to show they got him a ring. And Dad's got it.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Tell us something that we probably didn't know about Jason.
Well, Jason grew up, you know, people would always, when he grew up, he was a big kid for his age. Guys would always try to bully him and stuff like that. And I always told him, I said, you know what? I said, don't worry, but just tell guys, leave my son alone, leave him alone. Because I race bikes and stuff like that. I still ride a hog, you know, at my age, and, you know, I ain't gonna quit. You know, but still in all, I used to take him with me on my, you know, journeys of drag racing and stuff like that, and the guys used to mess with him all the time. And I always used to tell him, I say, look, I tell the guys, I say, you guys keep messing with my son. One day, he gonna hurt you. And, you know, they just kept messing with him and kept messing with him. And then eventually, he got to the point, I said, listen, you got to stop letting these boys mess with you. Even though you're big, you know, for your age, they don't know it. You know, and then he did it. So we were just playing around. And like I said, one day we was out working on cars, and me and my buddies, and my son got in the house with one of my buddy's sons, and he ended up knocking him out. So at the same time, I told him, everybody want to stop. I said, no, leave him alone. Let him go. I said, they got to learn. And he did what he's supposed to do. From that point on, nobody messed with him no more. So every time, when I'm in L.A. or whatever, and I go around, they always ask me about, how's your son doing? Where's he at? Is he doing good? I say, he's doing great. You know, so now they ask me, I say, well, he's in heaven right now. So they always appreciate it, and they always say, well, we got my love for him. And right now, like I say, when he moved back to the East Coast here, to New Jersey, he met Jaws, and the kid is good. You know, he was good at what he did. I always told him he could keep going and he could get in the NFL, but I didn't think he really wanted to get in the NFL. He wanted to do what he wanted to do with Jaws, and he did it, and that's him right there. So I love him. You know, sorry my wife couldn't be here, and peace, love.
Thanks for coming
Thank you.
on, babe. Great to see you.
I appreciate you, Chris. You did a great
Love
job. And I appreciate everybody here for coming out. You know, I knew you had other better things to do, but you're here.
We love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
When we come back, a video tribute like no other about coffee, right here live on BFA. was indeed quite a night here at the House of Brews, where we had the opportunity to pay tribute to our dear friend Coffee Jones, who left a mark that will never, ever be erased on everybody. You heard from so many people, family and friends. We at BFA Sports were honored to be with him, and we were able to do something that I hope that you'll enjoy, a video tribute like no other. Here it is.
As the tide rose in and the pressure thick.
This is Chris Lozzi. Your football weekend starts under the lights on Fridays. Catch the exciting action with SNJ Today.
And I'm Coffee Jones, featuring your local high school teams and highlighting your local high school players to watch in the biggest games of the season, live.
Tune in every week with me, Chris Lozzi.
And me, Coffee Jones, throughout the season.
That's Friday nights on WMGM.
It's high school football time on SNJ Today's
Game of the Week.
Another perfect one.
Cool, baby. We good? Did you get both of those?
Yeah, we're good.
In that first drive.
I still want to go back, though, to the analogy of the pretty girls.
That's kind of what the sense I get just talking to people about this rivalry, that one team in Delsea is kind of the grinded out type team, the American muscle car that you kind of put together in your own garage.
We are. This is us, a slimmed down version of both of us, if you will. So thank you to those who actually noticed it. We appreciate that. We're still trying.
It's a black shirt.
Oh, is that what it is?
Black shirt, Doug Stassi. They take care of us.
I'm sitting next to you. Is that why I look thinner?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of the Williamstown Braves on BFA. It's a special pregame tonight. It's senior night as the Braves host the Lenape Indians. I'm Chris Lozzi, of course, with Coffee Jones. You've been to a lot of different places to play football. As a broadcaster in South Jersey, how many places are intimidating like this?
I can't just limit it to South Jersey, Chris. I've been all over the country. I'm from California. I have never seen a high school atmosphere like you got here at the Chop House.
And why not for a big game? It is senior night. Lenape is in town, a team that has never beaten the Braves. They're 0 for 7.
We were trying to make it 0 for 8 here on Friday night. The Braves won their first home game this season. So far, this crowd is going to get raucous, and they're going to make sure they get a victory tonight. It really is. But again, it's going to start defensively, because as long as we've been doing Williamstown games, they play defense here at home. So watch them to come out firing, get after the quarterback, tackle well in the back end, and play sound defensively.
Doug Stassi along with my brother for another. Coffee Jones. Coffee. More basketball.
We're having fun. We were here last night here at the Juan Wagner Court, and 3 generations of the Wagner family are now McDonald's All-Americans.
Just give yourself away to the calmness, to the calmness. Now time is standing still, and all the feelings that you feel, all the problems that were dealt, will never again be felt.
Big fella, got our game
changer, player of the game, Aaron Bradshaw, got a game changer speedy for you.
I
I know you're going
appreciate
to get it in over the stretch, but
Yeah, I appreciate you.
talk about defensively what you like to do on the back end, how you've been so dominant controlling the backboard.
I just like blocking shots and talking to my teammates.
I agree. There's always some things that you can take off of any game, a win or a loss. So even if you win, you can still get better. Even if you lose, you can still get better. That's the week 0 game. They got to come out here and execute, eliminate the penalties.
Aaron Bradshaw blocking shots. You got Sion Medley and DJ Wagner stripping the ball, getting in your pockets. I mean, you feel like you're in the subway in New York City when you're playing against this Camden team trying to go against that pressure defense. Break it down, Ro. Hey, 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 hey. Sports Center for Top Fan Take. This is Jason Jones, AFL Insider. I'm back at ESPN, and guess what? The Arena Football League is back on ESPN. This Saturday, ESPN2, the Philadelphia Soul versus the Cleveland Gladiators, 2 teams that I've played for and helped get to the Arena Bowl the last 2 years. So it's back, and you do not want to miss this game. It's going to be a war indoors. Classic. You got to get all 6 Infinity Stones to stop Joe Hills.
I already got 6.
Tell him, Joe. I said you need all.
Who gonna cover me?
I said you need all 6 Infinity Stones to stop Joe Hills.
Who gonna cover me?
Okay, guys, I'm sorry we couldn't be there tonight. I know it's a big high school reunion, but I'm a little busy doing my thing right now. Coffee, 35 years I've been out of high school. Say hi to everybody.
You barely look 35.
God bless him. He's the best. Guys, enjoy yourselves. Have a good time at the reunion. We'll see you next time.
Go Braves.
Well, now you've got Joe Wojciechowski in Lenape. He's in his 5th season. A good conversation with him today. He had 2 halftime leads, but he thinks the team has been breaking down in the 4th quarter. They've given up double-digit leads both games. They're coming into this environment, and they've never beaten Williamstown.
Number 1 in Williamstown. They're 1-0 here at the Shop House. The black jerseys. You see the seniors being celebrated tonight. This is going to be a tough win if Lenape is going to come here and pull off the upset.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Braves. After losing to Millville, they come home. They've got the Chop House going, and we're getting closer to kickoff here on BFA.
Will never again be felt. It's just like breathing underwater. 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 You will need no amnesty, being pure tranquility, and that is what you'll find. If you just open up your mind to the coldness, to the
Kelsey, so here's what we got here. Here's
Chris is
Okay.
making some deals.
all right. Got to make a deal here. All right, so
He's got Millville
hot dog
by
with
24 and a half.
yeah, right.
So you took that trip to Lexington. Just talk about Big Blue Nation. They embraced you as home. Just how was that seeing Rupp Arena for the first time?
It felt great. You know, they showed a lot of love, and it was a great atmosphere. It reminded me of here a lot. You know, it reminded me of Camden, so I'm definitely excited.
James wants to show us shivering here. There we are. Chris Lozzi, Bo Bell, Coffee Jones here in our crew tonight in Delsey. Last week we were in Millville. It was like, what, 75 degrees? It was beautiful.
and first of all, here, baby. We were supposed to be in Collingswood, but my daughter and the Collingswood
Didn't work out
Panthers,
there.
they didn't work out too well against Camden High.
Kelsey came up just short, just a little bit.
Sorry. It was close game.
I believe it was 48.
Yeah, it was closer than.
It was closer than the score indicated.
Oh, man. This is how my daughter's in the room with the air conditioner on, And I'm like, we just turned the air conditioner off. She's like, no, I like it. It's weird. It's teenagers nowadays.
I'm Chris Lozzi. Coffee Jones, as usual, back with us. They say it's difficult to beat the same team twice. We're in the postseason. Everything starts 0-0, all those cliches. Break it down for us, though. They know each other very well.
I mean, you get kind of that NFL type of feel. You know, in the NFL, your division foes, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Giants, you play them twice. You get a little familiarity. These teams have a lot of familiarity. They're not too far apart. They play each other a couple times every single season. You got to go back and forth and think about stopping the run if you're going to be Williamstown. You got to understand this is going to be a physical football game. If you don't stop the run, you're going to be out of here and your season's going to be over.
And if Chris Lozzi, Coffee Jones, Ryan Schumacher is here. The great Coffee Jones. Randy Brown. Special teams coach of the Baltimore Ravens. We got a hell of a crew. And Chris Terrian is here, too, by the way, who's now going to brag about the Flyers, who are, what, 5-2?
Yeah, and I was talking to Randy before. That's what I love coming to the games when I see, like, Randy Brown or even you guys. They're just talking sports. They're just sports guys.
It's just like breathing underwater. It's just like breathing underwater. Close your eyes and you will see the beauty of your belief. In the silence there is hope. No more trying to stay afloat.
Welcome back, everybody, as we wrap up our very special edition of the Coach's Show and a tribute to the man, Coffee Jones. And it's my pleasure to share the stage with Doug Stasic, managing partner, does everything for BFA Sports. Words cannot describe the night that we've had here tonight.
A lot of love in the room. Certainly, House of Brews, it's beyond full. No surprise here. The love from the family, the friends, teammates at BFA Sports, the Jaworski family, the extended families. I've been struggling with this, just like everybody else, I think, for quite some time, but what are really the words to say? And when somebody is larger than life, as much as Coffee obviously being the football and the basketball guru here in South Jersey and really, I would say, across the country, some of the bigger games that he had the opportunity to cover, there's a saying in baseball, legends never die. That's the best way to describe him. BFA, a lot of people don't realize what BFA actually stands for, and it's brother from another. One of the first games I ever had an opportunity to call, I got on air with my partner, Al Fisher, and looked at him and really just came to me and said, hey, I'm here with my brother from another. And Coffee really was the essence of being a brother from another. A lot of people behind the scenes, I don't think, understand sometimes what it's like to try to do the behind the scenes work to put on a production like this. And I felt like I took years off my own life early on, and he was always the lifeline for me. You know, like I was telling his father earlier today, it was almost like he had this sixth sense. It was like ESP. Like when I was just like losing my mind and stressed out and worried about how are we going to get this done and how can we take it to the next level and who's going to be our sponsors, he just seemed to always reach out to me at the right time. And he's like, Douglas, got to keep it light. And I said, well, if a guy as big as you can keep it light, then I got to be able to keep it light. And those moments behind the scenes are why I loved him so much, because he was there for me when I didn't know I needed myself, if that makes any sense. And I think what's really important to me is that legend, that legacy will never die. And we decided early on this season for Williamstown football that we would keep his seat open. And I told you, I said, Chris, there's no way I can put someone else in that seat, not even myself, because I felt like it would be just, I mean, how do you fill those Jordans?
Yeah.
Right? How do you fill those Jordans? And so I want to make sure that Coffey's passing continues to pay dividends for the youth, the high schoolers, the college kids, the guys that were going to grind and try to find that way, that bridge. And that's what BFA has been. BFA has been a bridge for a lot of kids to be seen that wouldn't normally be seen. You know, I love Ron Jaworski because of the fact that he never forgets where he came from. And so the story about giving Coffey an opportunity early on, fast forward to a night like tonight, he passes, he says to me, we got to do something. Like, I want to be involved so we can do more. So I'm going to tell you right now, the first thing that we're going to do is we always deal with aspiring students, guys that are behind the scenes, you know, guys like Dave Virgilio that I've gotten to know for years. You know, like, he learned this. This wasn't something that, you know, he just went to school for or snapped his fingers. It happens like every day. He grinds to get better. Jared Garcia, student at Rowan University. He's producing the show tonight, grinding it out. Nick Penza, graduate, junior college, Atlantic Cape Buccaneer, right? Which, by the way, the video tribute, this man right here, Nick Penza. So you got to give it up for Nick Penza, one of the hardest videos that he'll ever do. So you introduced me to Coffey, and I can't thank you enough, because it's the essence of brother from another. A guy like him being in my life has made me a better man. I think it's made the guys around the camera lens better men. I look at students that get an opportunity to be seen, and they've become better men because of his coverage. It opened up a door to get them an education and ultimately make them better men and put themselves in a better position for their family. So in that spirit, what I'm here to announce tonight is that every year we will pick a student athlete, not the kid going to Georgia, which I know that's what he would want, but the kid that needs an opportunity to open up another door, and we will call upon them each and every year. It's going to be a football or a basketball player. They will be awarded the Coffey Jones Memorial Scholarship to help at least provide something for them to help open up the next door. And
This
so,
was not planned, by the way.
Nobody,
I had no idea.
Nobody in the room knew that this was going to happen. So
That's
this
beautiful.
is something that we're going to take away tonight. I thank Coffey's family for making the trip from the West Coast, from the Midwest to be here. I thank the guys for putting in a lot of extra time to pull this off. And listen, buddy, I was struggling so bad that I didn't know how this would go. This was your idea. This was your tribute. And I know that as you're interviewing all these other people tonight, it's the hardest assignment that you've ever had.
Yep.
And I wish I could give you the right words. But you have so many memories. You're not going to need me to give you the right words, because you're going to be able to call still upon your brother from another up in the heavens. And when you need those words, they're going to come to you. And that's a gift that he gave to you that no one else will ever be able to have. So I know he's smiling down upon us. I miss him so much. I didn't mean to take up this much time. And one last, a very important thank you. The gentleman who was singing the song, that is by the artist Noivus, who was a contestant on The Voice. So that is an actual song you can download from Apple and iTunes. I would encourage you to do so, put it in your phone. And thank you to everybody, including the Williamstown Huddle Club. We obviously kind of took over the coaches show tonight.
Yeah, and we want to thank you for that. There are so many people that we have to thank, and I'm going to do this the right way. Of course, you already mentioned our crew from BFA's side, David Virgilio, Jarrett Garcia, Nick Penza. Tremendous job, fellas. Really tremendous job all season. David, with the production and the graphics packages that you've created have taken us to another level. Jarrett, you're not going to be referred to as a student anymore. You've mastered this, my friend. Good job. And Nick, what can I say? I mean, it wasn't my wedding video, but you edited a great job anyway, so thank you for that. From the Williamstown Huddle Club side, I don't know how to thank all of them. And I know they're here. Roger Malinsky's here. Say hello to Roger. Tony Lantine, president. Sure, Frank, they're here. Frank and Kim Kopachevsky's are here. I know that. We really sometimes got on their nerves a little bit for this show, but I wanted to make sure that this was a tribute that no one would ever forget. And I thank you all for that. So we got one more to do. Tomorrow night, before we kick it off, we have another special tribute for coffee, and this time we're going to do it for the fans and a special presentation. So for everybody here, thank you so much for coming out. Special thanks, of course, to the Jaworski family. Family as in general, my family is here. Doug's family's here. We love you, and thank you so much. And to coffee, we love you. We'll miss you very much. Thank you all. Take care.